Hello everyone, welcome to Cerebral Arcade. I'm Stacey, and today we're gonna play some video games. I'm really excited to be getting back into streaming. And I know I've kind of like threatened this a couple of times and been like, oh, I'm totally gonna start streaming again, it's happening. But it's definitely happening now. I am feeling so good and recovering nicely from the PhD, so that's been good times. And I'm seeing some awesome friendly faces in the chat. How are you guys doing? Yeah, Brandito, hello, and DJ. Yeah, how are you? Surviving, DJ says. Yeah, I feel that. Brandito, how are you doing? Yeah, it's been a while now. Like, I kind of went through a month of just chilling and relaxing, and I think the last time I streamed was like right at the end of that month. And then there was kind of another month of trying to like get back into a reasonable flow of life. Like, it's this weird thing of when you're working 24/7, I mean like constantly working, and then you sort of just stop. And I needed that break. Like, I needed to just stop. But then going back to working again, it's like, how do I do this in a way that's healthy and not gonna just like kill me and burn me out? So yeah, I'm gonna move chat over here. Brandito says a strong meh. Oh no, actually I'm good. I changed my answer. Okay. I hope you're okay. I don't know. I feel like if your first reaction was strong meh, then maybe that's where you're really at. Like, it's okay. But yeah, so one of the things I'm really excited about with getting back into streaming is actually playing some narrative games, doing some narrative analysis. It's been kind of a weird like tension for me, because in the little bit that I was streaming over the summer, just with my streams like here and there, the streams where I was actually playing video games got a lot less uptake, which is kind of sad. But playing games and having folks to chat to and kind of like talk out loud and externalize my thoughts as I'm playing, particularly for narrative games and games that I feel like I should play, or they're like on my backlog of stuff that I feel like is relevant to my work or research. That process of externalizing thoughts and like analyzing them with chat and talking about them really helps me sort of cement how I feel about them and understanding what the game's doing. And for a certain type of narrative game, that process is really important to me. And that's, in general, what I've always gotten out of streaming is like selfishly, it's kind of like for me to be able to speak my thoughts out loud to help me think while I'm playing. And so I've been a little bit sad that the streams where I've been playing games have not been as popular. And I had a little bit of a tension with myself of like, okay, do I want Twitch to be more a place where I hang out with cool friends and, we chat about our lives and stuff like that? Or do I want it to be the thing that it's always been for me? And so that's been a little bit of a tension. And I think what I'm gonna do is have certain days of the week be for specific types of games, and then do a Friday just chatting stream. So for friends who are maybe less interested in the games aspect, can hang out for the just chatting streams. But folks who want to talk about games, yeah, maybe you should be on payroll. DJ, of all people, you definitely should. I should totally be paying you for this. And yes, you are absolutely essential. Yeah, as soon as I'm not an indie dev anymore, we could talk. But yeah, so I think I'm gonna try to stream probably about this time on Sundays, and for the Sunday streams do very narrative focused games, like games with a lot of reading. They're probably gonna be a lot of like visual novel type stuff, and really put a lot of narrative focus on Sunday streams. And then I also want to stream on Wednesdays and do like a weird game Wednesday for just like games that are weird and that'll be kind of in the middle, like a little bit zanier and relaxed, and talk about what the games are doing, but also, you know, have some fun and just check out weird games. And then Fridays do more like a sit and drink wine happy hour sort of thing, where we can all hang out and chat and catch up on our lives and things like that. So so that's kind of my rough thought. And if folks have strong opinions about that or anything, feel free to let me know about them here or on socials or whatever. But otherwise, yeah, I figured today we start off kind of light. So this game, Cinders, has been sitting in my backlog for probably literally years. So it is a visual novel adaptation of Cinderella, and it's supposed to be like a mature take on that. And so I'm kind of curious as to what that means. It's got a vaguely sort of like fall aesthetic, so I thought it would be kind of fun for the week leading up to Halloween. But apparently there's like a lot of interesting stuff that this game is doing with Cinderella and her sisters, who are apparently a little bit more multidimensional than they tend to be in Cinderella stories. Yeah, wine chats, exactly. Everybody loves a wine chat. And actually, I mean, I say that, but I'm sitting here sipping on some wine anyway, so yeah. Sounds against TOS. Yeah, I have no idea how mature is. Like, that's just, you know, it bills itself as a mature take on Cinderella. So I don't know, maybe it'll get spicy and this will turn into a really uncomfortable chat. But to my knowledge, it's not like overtly a sexy game or anything. But we'll see. I don't know. Overboard got unexpectedly spicy, so who knows. But yeah, so I'm kind of curious to check this out, and I figured it'd be a good opportunity to talk about storytelling, and for me to go on a particular rant that has been kind of brewing in the back of my mind for a little while now about why we're not getting new storytelling concepts in film and other media. And I think that it has to do with audience expectations and how we expect, increasingly so, I think, as a culture, we've sort of shifted in how we expect media to engage with things. And in general, we sort of only want to hear stories that we already know what they're about, but we've become so afraid of spoilers and are so spoiler averse that we also don't want to know what anything's about. And so it creates this weird tension where I think folks are afraid to hear anything about a story before they go into it, but also they only want to engage with stories that they roughly know what they're about. So, yeah, hi, Kinetic. Yes, exactly. We do all just want to be comfortable and safe. And so I think this is why we end up with like 100 retellings of Batman, because Batman is a character that we already know what that character entails and how we would be attached to it. Where, like, for example, I think it's much harder to get people into a new franchise when they don't have an attachment to the characters, for example. And they also don't want to know like anything about what the story is about, because it's like, you know, in general, when you're coming into a story for the first time, you sort of want to know who's the protagonist, what's the inciting incident, like what is the framing for the story that you're going to kind of be engaging with. And like I've noticed among friends and stuff that we've gotten so afraid of spoilers that it's like, oh, don't tell me anything about the story. And it's like, well, no, I mean, tell me like the central conflict. I want to know like what the story's about. So yeah, I think that's kind of, I don't know, a personal rant, similar to the reason movies like The Last Duel and The Green Knight flop. Yeah, totally. Because I think, you know, particularly when there are things that folks are not as familiar with and don't have that like a priori sort of investment in a story and a character, there's a little bit more work involved to get you there. And so I'm really curious about this game because, you know, it's a Cinderella story. And when you're retelling a story that's been told a million times, there's such a fine line between bringing something new to it, because you don't, like, if this is just the Disney Cinderella sort of retold, we're all going to be really bored by that. But also keeping the source material similar enough that we identify it as a Cinderella story. So having like certain key points that we hit. I remember when I first got into games, a big complaint being everything is sequels and same stories. I wonder if it has been a complaint since the 20s and 30s in movies. You know, I think, I don't know. Like, my off-the-cuff answer is like, I don't know. I remember, like, new stories coming about. Like, if you think about when Inception came out, for example, that sort of blew everybody's minds. And sure, like, all stories are composed of tropes. So, like, it's certainly taking tropes from different things and combining them. But, like, I don't know. I do feel like in the 90s, for example, like, movies came out that were new premises, and even if they fit into a genre where you sort of roughly knew what the shape of the genre was, like, the IP and stuff would be novel. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure there was ever an era this hasn't been a complaint. Yeah, that's an interesting point. I would be really curious because, like, I don't know, thinking about some of the biggest blockbusters of the 90s even, they are all stories that you sort of knew. I mean, I don't know, like something like Jurassic Park is kind of an interesting case because yes, it was adapted from a book, but like the book didn't come out before the movie, and so like, yeah, there was like weird stuff there. And Titanic, it's like, was a huge movie in the 90s, but also like, you know, the boat's gonna sink, so like you sort of already know what the central conflict is there. So yeah, I don't know, but either way, I figure this game will be a good opportunity for us to sort of chat about what it's doing. Biostats, every generation says that about the subsequent ones, happens in music too. So I would be curious actually for you to expand a little bit on what you mean about it happening in music too. In as much as like, I totally see that argument if what you mean is everybody says, oh, it used to be better. And I don't know that I'm necessarily arguing it used to be better. But I mean, certainly there are articles and stuff on Disney in particular, their approach to the Avengers movie, and how over the course of like the Avengers rising in popularity, the superhero movie sort of like took a completely different direction. And there was a time before Avengers movies when not every movie in the box office was a superhero movie. So I do definitely think that like the variety of films we used to see was like a bit more diverse than it is now. But I would be super curious to have you expand on those thoughts, Biostats, and hear what you have to say. Also, hello. And congrats on finishing my degree. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's been a whole thing. And actually, I don't know if I want to say this out loud, but okay, I'm just gonna say it. I found out actually yesterday or Friday that my dissertation is now publicly available. So it is out there in the world. It is real. I am like officially done. So yeah, yay. I mean, I was done before that, but there's like that thing of it doesn't really feel real until it's out there. So now it's out there. But yeah. Okay, so with all of that preamble, let's go ahead and dive in. Do a new game. Cinders says, I still can't believe I've been delaying this for so long. It makes me wonder if I'd decided to act earlier, maybe things wouldn't be so broken between us. Ooh, who do we think us is? Maybe with just a little effort, this family wouldn't fall apart like this. Bendito asks, does that technically make you a published author? Yeah, that's weird. That's an interesting question because, I think it does in the same way I had published papers previously. Like, I don't know if it counts as like a book from like a publisher. Like, I don't know, an author, that's such a strong word. I wouldn't use that word to describe myself, but yeah. You can link to it, watch it get 20 downloads a year for the next decade. Or that's just my experience. I'm a little nervous about it, Biostats, to be honest, because there's a part of me that really was sort of banking on nobody reading the dissertation, but historically, dissertations from my particular research group actually get quite prolifically cited. And part of the reason for that is generally in a dissertation, you've already published a lot of the material that goes into it, so people have other things to cite when they're citing your work. But it's kind of a thing in my research group that a lot of us publish research that we've sort of are in the process of doing or is recently kind of completed. And that was definitely the case in my dissertation too. So so it's one of those things of either I need to actually get people to read it, or I have to chop that up and publish some of those ideas somewhere else. And yeah, I'm not, for me, the pain is still too fresh. So I suppose it was easier to complain and do nothing rather than try to change things, isn't it always? Tonight it's different. This is the night of change, the night where my plans finally take effect. I can hear my stepsisters talking in soft voices in the hall. I imagine they too won't get any sleep tonight. During the last few days, I've learned so much more about them, but can it erase all the years they tormented and humiliated me? I don't know what to think about it. People deserve a second chance, or people should get what they deserve. Yeah, generally the articles from the chapters are cited, and that's true, often because they're peer-reviewed, where the dissertation is peer-reviewed by your advisors, but it's kind of a different thing. What are we thinking here, chat? I think people deserve a second chance. I suspect this is purely a reflective choice and is not actually going to do much, so yeah, let's be merciful here. People deserve a second chance. You can't erase the past, that's for sure. But I know sometimes we don't choose our fates. Were circumstances different, my stepsisters could be good people. We could be friends. Whatever happens, I hope they won't come into harm. They deserve another chance. So, yeah, so that little intro dialogue feels a little bit like a missed opportunity for me. It was a little bit flat. It didn't, what I would have really loved to see is to have a little bit more voice in that dialogue to give me a little bit more to latch onto for like what version of Cinderella am I here? And I think that choice was sort of meant to be, are you going to be merciful or vengeful? But I think I would have liked for the game to tell me a little bit more about my character there. Jeffy Lindsay, hi, finally a stream I could catch live. Oh, it's wonderful to have you. Thank you so much for joining. Yeah, we're just now starting Cinders, which is sort of a modern, mature retelling of Cinderella. We do not know what mature entails yet, but so far it's like very darkly lit, so maybe that's what it means. Okay, so we have Gloria. Gloria says, I still can't believe she did it. I never would have suspected. And we have Sophia, and I presume these are our two sisters. Of course, because everyone as dim-witted as you are never does anything out of the ordinary or unexpected. Oh yes, I'm sure you were able to foresee what would happen. Did you see it in the tea leaves or read it in a children's book one afternoon while avoiding work and being useless as usual? I did entertain the thought that she might try to pull something off, if you must know, but believe what you want, I don't care. I also suspected she might try to do something. She was so secretive and compliant at times that an explosion seemed inevitable. Also skeptical of the modern part given the outfits. Yeah, I agree. I think modern maybe in the writing, not in the setting. I just didn't expect she had it in her. Gloria, please, sometimes you sound like a cliche villain from a bad romance novel. Ooh, how meta do we think this is gonna be? Of course, if something isn't twisted, weird, or shocking, then you wouldn't consider it. Not everyone is like you, Sophia. Fortunately so. Just like not everyone tries to be a mirror image of their mother, down to mimicking her manner of speech. So I'm gonna be really honest, I'm kind of having some difficulty, and I don't know if this is intentional or not, but I'm kind of having some difficulty like pulling these two apart as characters. Like I sort of feel like if the hairstyles were the same, I don't know that I'd be able to tell them apart at all. But you are not Carmosa, remember? You do not lead, you follow mindlessly. Shut up, you. Question mark says, open up in the name of the prince. It's him. Why did he have to come? And in the middle of the night? Will the wonders never cease, just like your ridiculous cliche impersonations. That's two uses of cliche in like the opening scene. There's no time for this now. I'm sure Mother will deal with you later. I'll go summon her. You do that. Open up, I won't repeat myself. Okay, Mother has a different face. This is good. Mother. Lady Carmosa. Sophia, don't stand like that. Open the door. Let this noisy man in. All right. And then, like, Strider comes in. Ah, Captain, what brings you here this time of night? Spare me these false pleasantries. You know why I'm here. Where is she? Very well. Sophia, get Cinders here right away. Yes, Mother. Captain, would you fancy some wine while we wait for my lazy stepdaughter? I would like some wine while we wait for the lazy stepdaughter. Don't push it. You know this is not a courtesy visit. Ooh, he looks so smarmy. Look at his little smirk. I'm afraid a lot is going to change here tonight. Okay. He's right. Nothing will ever be the same. Is it gonna be Cinders or Cinders? I don't know. We do not know at this point. I must admit, I'm afraid of it too. Some independent woman I am. Cinders, Mother has summoned you. Move, you know she doesn't like to wait. Fine, fine, I'm moving. Just give me a moment. Move, you know she doesn't like to wait. I know you just said that. Okay. Cinders, can I ask you something? Yes, Sophia? This whole situation, what happened this evening and the guard bashing our door and all, it's because of you, right? You planned it? Should I tell the truth or lie to her? I don't know, this feels like a poorly set up choice. Because I don't know what the stakes are. I don't know what I did, and I don't know, like, what's gonna happen either way. Like, I don't know, this feels like a very badly informed choice. I'll tell her the truth, I guess, because then at least I'll get to discover the truth. Yes, I guess so. I guess so? I definitely made it happen. I think it would have told me either way, but still. Funny, it all started with my stepmother summoning me, just like now. 7 days earlier. Okay, so as an opening scene, I'm not sure that accomplished what I generally would want an opening scene to accomplish. So I get what they were going for. They were totally going for trying to start a story at kind of like a high tension moment. And presumably that's when they're looking for me, I would guess, after I've like left the ball and whatever. But I think that only works because we already know Cinderella as a story, because like that didn't do the sort of things I would expect a first scene of a story to do, which is to introduce the main character, to introduce like central conflicts between, like, or at least point toward what they might be, to like give us some sense of who these characters are in their natural state, or to maybe like give us what the stakes of this are going to be later on. Like, it felt very exposition heavy. Like, it felt like it was doing a lot of telling. Like, it was telling me, like, that the stepsisters were maybe mean, without necessarily showing it or making me feel it. Jeffrey Lindsay says, maybe this game is based around the idea that you already know the story. Yeah, and we've talked about that a bit, Jeffrey, too. Like, I think that as a Cinderella story, you like it's a fine line, because you want to engage with what the audience's expectations of that story are, while also serving them up in a new and interesting way. So yeah, it's we'll see where it's going, but so far yeah, I don't know that I'm picking up as much voice in the characters maybe as I might hope to, but it's just the first scene. We'll see where it goes. Cinder says, what a beautiful morning. The last few days were all rain and gloom, but here we are, summer in its fullest. The sun is sure nice. It can get pretty cold in this room of mine. I don't know, looks nice and cozy. Although I don't feel so frisky right now. Probably shouldn't have burned the midnight oil over a book. And a silly one, too. Adolescent girl, pretty and numb as a freshly cut flower, shows divine humility and courage while everyone treats her like a doormat. Who writes these things? It's like a girl can't aim for anything better than martyrdom. Funny, though. If it's really that bad, why did I read it in the first place? Yeah, layers of meta there. Maybe more than intended. So yeah, I appreciate that. That's kind of like a nice like poke and wink to the player, being like, hey, this isn't gonna be every Cinderella story that you've read. That's good. Maybe something in it echoes a part of my own experience? I don't know, and I'm not gonna spend my morning wondering about it. Hi, Pirate! How are you? Good to see you. Welcome. Of course, it isn't as if I'll get to enjoy the day either. Lady Carmosa will certainly make sure that I have to do the worst chores. Okay. Sorry, I think when I hit the scroll wheel, even a little bit, it scrolls back to previous lines, which is kind of cool. I wonder if we can rewind choices that way. The old hag could use any of her servants, but no, she always sends me just to rub in the humiliation. If only Father was still here. On a day like this, he would surely take me to the forest. We always went to the lake, the magical lake, as he called it, and left a loaf of bread under the old tree. Gotta pay tribute to the fairies. You never know when you may need their help. Good old man. He used to tell me stories about the little folk, even when I was far too old to believe them anymore. But enough daydreaming. Honestly, I talk to myself way too often these days. Yeah, again, this is like a bit more like telling us that we should miss our father rather than making us feel it as a player. And I'm sympathetic to that because, you know, I recognize text is really cheap. It's a lot easier to just do some exposition in text. And I think that's probably like as good a middle ground as you're going to get of sort of doing some reminiscing, you know, some writing in of mental imagery of, you know, specific moments by the lake and stuff. But if you compare that with something like Ever After, where it actually like makes you feel for the relationship between Cinderella and the father, you know, I think Ever After maybe does that slightly better. It's only a moment before I start considering mice and sparrows my only friends, and we go frolicking and singing together, like a nudge to Disney. My future animal companions will have to wait, though. I may get lonely sometimes, but not desperate. Time to get up, Cinders. The day has only started. You never know what the future may bring. Okay, so this is us. We at least have orange hair, so we are like slightly distinct from everybody else, and our dress is a lot more tattered and lots of reps. I'm still a little bit like, yeah, I don't know how mature this is gonna be. We'll see. I still have some time before my dear sisters wake up. I should start cleaning duties to have more time later. Or I could try to finish that book I was reading last night. Rendito said she's definitely the hot one. I agree. Or I could seize this opportunity to do sweet nothing. Ha. Gingers are always the best, huh? All 5 are skinny and white, though. Yep, it's true. It's not like I have time for myself very often. What should I do? Start cleaning, read the book, or laze around? Yeah, again, this sort of feels like a choice that, again, like I'm not entirely sure what the stakes are. Yeah, we can read the book. The book was meta, yeah. Like, I think probably the correct thing is to start cleaning, correct in as much as, like, that's probably what's expected of us. And so maybe what this actually is like a choice around, you know, obedience versus not. But, yeah, We'll do the book. We unlocked a trophy. Yay. Since my father's death, Carmosa and her daughters treat me as their servant. Cinders, do the cleaning. Cinders, go to the town. Cinders, why isn't my dress washed? How much do you think this game expects you'll play it multiple times? That is difficult to tell so far. Yeah, I don't know. And also, like, with choice-based narratives, it's hard to say in general. Like, I mean, I know, you know, like, the stats at Telltale of how many people actually replay a Telltale game was lower than you might expect. So, yeah, visual novels tend for one time versus other stuff, for sure. And it also comes down to the time investment, right? Like, if this is an hour game, that's a really different thing than if this is, like, a 4-hour game. I think How Long to Beat had this at about 3 hours, so. Ugh, wash it yourself. I'm sure today won't be any different. At least I still have my books to take me away from this. Her face got so, like, so, like, sort of, like, dead stare right before she disappeared. The one I read last night was pretty aggravating, but not all romances are like that. I have some favorites. My sisters took most of my other things, all the dresses and trinkets. But luckily for me, books hold no value for such practically minded young ladies. I must admit, though, I've read them all to death by now. Carmosa would never spend a penny on something so frivolous. So I'm stuck with what Father got me. Mostly fairy tales and legends he gave me when I was a child. I don't really believe in knights in shining armor or fairies anymore, but I would be lying if I said I don't enjoy reading about them. The one I'm reading now, yet again, is about the Lady of the Lake. Sorcery, romance, adventure. I bet that in 100 years that won't get old. Same thing as what I've read tonight, really, but good writing and characters can make all the difference. So, which chapter is it? Cinders, are you there? Cinders, where are you? Oh, I see you're reading again. Not a big surprise. I'm sorry, but I'll have to drag you out of that little fantasy world of yours. Mother wishes to see you immediately. Did she tell you what she wants? No, of course not. Why would she? And why would I want to ask in the first place? She looked rather angry, though. I hope I'm not in some kind of trouble again. You really could have asked her, you know. I think you mistook me for one of those gentle, well-mannered noble girls who care about others. Sorry to break it for you, but I don't. If you're in trouble, that means I get a free pass today, so I'm rooting for it with all my heart, sis. Okay. So I'm hoping that line about good characters is sort of like a little bit of a wink toward the fact that maybe this is a moment where they're going to differentiate the stepsisters a little bit. My, aren't you one charming human being? One really small thing that I think would help me a lot is to color differentiate the names of who's speaking. Because yeah, sometimes I like just quickly, it takes me a second to be like, oh, I'm saying this, or oh, this character is saying this. Oh, shut up. I used to play in this hall as a child, but this building isn't much of a home anymore with Father gone. Man, they have some nice flowers. Carmosa does her best to keep the residence in its former splendor, and I guess most would be fooled by it. But for me, this place feels like it is fading away. Oh, so you didn't get lost after all. I was starting to think you couldn't find your way. But it seems you were just taking your precious time with no regard for the rest of us. You're as hopelessly irresponsible as that sister of mine. No wonder that mother can't count on anyone other than me in this house. Don't tell me you got caught up daydreaming about some prince coming to save you. Okay. So, much like with Overboard, I feel like the similarity in these choices actually calls attention to the differences between them. So, Not Really and No Did You are functionally both saying no, but Not Really feels more passive, where No Did You feels a bit more aggressive. And well, actually, I mean, That's just yes. So, yeah, I don't know. I think going with the aggressive reaction sounds fun. Yeah, if given the option, I think one thing that might be fun, and chat, you should weigh in on this. One thing that might be fun would be trying to befriend one of the sisters and play them against each other if the game gives us that option. You're the one who should be dreaming of being rescued from your prison, if you ask me. Gloria says you don't know what you're talking about. Don't I? I haven't seen you smile for quite some time now. It's very thoughtful of you to worry about me, but if I were you, I'd pay more attention to your situation. I don't want your pity. And before you get any more foolish ideas, I think you should know that Mother is calling for you. She says she has a special job for you. No doubt something rudimentary enough. So you were sent here to fetch me then? Mother entrusts me with important tasks. Don't mistake me for being on your level. You wait here. I'll let her know that you finally rolled out of bed. What should I tell her? All right, or are you not tired of this? Yeah, what do you think, chat? I think just going full in on being mean to her sounds really fun. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like sadistic. Am I playing snarky? Yeah, I don't know. I think with her, I might try to be snarky with her and try to be nice with the other sister. I don't know. Let's do it. Tired? What are you babbling about? You try so hard to be like Carmosa. You dress like her, you speak like her, and yet she still treats you as little more than a servant. She just left. She's just out. No snarky remark or anything. I do feel like as a player I could have done with a little bit of like feedback for how she reacted to that, if that changed something in the system. But that's cool. I can't believe it. I really just got her to shut up. I was expecting an insult at the very least. The room feels empty again. Even Gloria's presence is better than nothing. Is that true? I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that. Truthfully, I feel bad for her. I may be the servant around here, but her situation isn't that different from mine. NBA Dag, thank you so much for subscribing. Hi, it's so good to see you. Cinders says, so if you're just joining us, we're playing Cinders, which is sort of a mature retelling of Cinderella. I cannot believe I was not already subbed. Oh, that's really kind. Yeah, so I think what we're gonna try to do is try to play the two stepsisters against each other. And I want to try to be, I don't know, it'd be cool to try to be friends with both if we can, but also, I don't know, flowy hair is like, I'm not feeling her, so we'll be snarky to her. Okay, you can tell she's evil because of how dark her eyebrows are. Like, her eye makeup is seriously dark. Super evil. She also has like a Queen of Hearts, Alice in Wonderland vibe going on, which I actually kind of like. So you're finally up, you lazy girl. Can't anyone in this house just do what is asked of them? I swear, you feeble-minded girls are going to be the death of me. Ooh, I hope so. And the eyebrow shape, yeah, for sure. That like super arch with like, and the little swoosh in the middle, yeah. You've wasted too much of my time already. I have a job for you. Go into town and find the merchant Tobias. I need you to pay him for a certain service. I'm giving you 200 sovereigns exactly. Don't you dare lose them. I must be a fool to entrust you with this much money, but unfortunately I have nowhere else to send. I have better plans for those two useless daughters of mine. Now hurry up, child. Time is of the essence. Do you feel like as well-dressed as these people are, there might be, like, servants other than me to send, though? Carmosa has been speaking to me this whole time, alternating between insults and orders. Do I really have to silently accept this? What should I tell her? Yeah, so this actually is kind of the first choice that feels like it, like there's a little bit of dramatic tension in the choice. Um, there's no way they're cleaning that room. Yeah. What if I refuse or what service? We can be sassy and be a dag. Do you have a strong opinion about what we should choose? So yeah, it does feel like if we're sassy, she might not give us the money, but also it feels like from a gameplay perspective, we might need the money. So yeah. What's interesting is, what if I refuse is like kind of a non-committal way to disagree also. And we know that players always choose the non-committal option if one is given among committal choices. It's certainly the one I'm gravitating toward. I'm curious about what the service is. Yeah, I am too. Let's ask. What exactly is the service you're paying for? I bet she'll just say none of our business. I think she will. Yep, mind your own business. There's no need for you to know. Why can't any of you girls just obey me without asking any questions? Now hurry up and go. The shade, I know it. Carmos is even more angry than usual today. I wonder what set her off. I've never seen her this defensive. She must be hiding something. I suppose it could be worse. A trip to town isn't such a terrible thing. It's a beautiful day and a great excuse to get away from the house. I won't even get in trouble for leaving as quickly as I can. Besides, Tobias has always been nice to me, so I'll enjoy seeing him again. This could be a rather pleasant trip. Okay, cool. We have like a little map here. I'm really loving the art style. Like these colors and like the just general aesthetic is really nice. All right. Off to the forest. I suppose I should be grateful, even though Carmosa practically kicked me out of the house. It's better than staying there. Yeah, why can't children just be mindless servants? I know it. Silly humans wanting agency. It really is beautiful here. It's a much-needed break from that toxic house. The lake that my father took me to as a child isn't that far away, too. I really miss our trips to the lake. It would be nice to visit it again, if only for the sake of memories. I wonder if I have enough time. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like they're pretty strongly signaling to go to the lake. Like, I'm sure we'll incur some kind of penalty for it, but I'm kind of down. Let's go. This is like the second time the lake has been mentioned, so. Carmosa will yell at me when I get back, no matter what I do. It's impossible to please that woman. Thanks for the lurk, Pirate. It's good to have you. Well, then I suppose a trip to the lake wouldn't make a difference one way or the other. It's been so long since my last visit, and I do miss it. I'll go. We were given a money limit, but not a time limit, right? That's correct. And she did say hurry, but yeah, there was no be there before lunch or anything like that. This is really beautiful. I'm glad I chose to come. This place is just as beautiful as it was when Father used to take me here. The castle in the background is a nice touch. Looks like a lot of Disney Worlds. Yeah, for sure. As a child, I knew this place was magical, but I've outgrown fairy tales now. Still, there's something to this place. It feels enchanted. Maybe it's because it hasn't changed a bit since I was a little brat. So, I think for me personally, this is probably just a personal aesthetic thing, but for me, there's like a meta writing threshold that I have. This game is leaning into like the meta stuff so hard. I think it's pushing on that limit for me quite a bit, where like Community, I'm rewatching right now, and there's a lot of meta writing in Community, but it's interspersed really well. And this feels a little bit saturated with it for me. Fairy tale comment pretty on the nose, yeah. Yeah, and there's been a lot of that so far. I mean, we're like 3 scenes in, and there's probably been, what, like 7 or 8 of those kind of references so far. I remember that Father would always leave a gift for the fairies every time we visited. Maybe I should do the same. I mean, is it money? Are we leaving money for the fairies? like, I don't know. I'm down for leaving a gift, but like, not if it's our money. I don't know. Sure. It's gonna be the money. I'm gonna be so mad. Wish I'd brought something with me, but I don't really own anything that would make a proper gift. Well, it's the intent that matters behind the gift. As long as I'm honoring the fairies, they'll appreciate it. I guess he was a big child deep inside. I think I'll weave a wreath out of some flowers here. Alright, cool. That's fine. I love Community. Yeah, I've really been enjoying it, DJ. It's been really fun. It's coming along nicer than I expected. It's been such a long time since I did anything like this. Feels a little nostalgic. It's funny how when we grow up, we start rejecting things we consider childish, only to return to them later with great joy. Like, again, that's like another line I'm like, okay. Skirting that meta line a little. I think I'll leave this wreath under that old oak. That's where Father always left our gifts when we came. Ah, I've spent too long here already. I need to get to town. Okay, we will head to town. Finally at the town. I appreciate that line. I should probably head straight to Tobias's shop. Whoa, my eyes got a little creepy. Strange. What's that crowd over there? Everyone seems to be surrounding that building. I'm sympathetic about lines like that, where I'm like, oh, that's kind of an awkwardly worded line, but also, you're trying to narrate through character dialogue, without like changing the assets that the player actually sees. And so I'm like, yeah, that was kind of a stilted, awkward line, but also like I sort of get it. I wonder what the game would do if we just went home without going to town at all. Oh, that's such a good thing. We should have done that. We should have tried. Dang. Okay, next time. I wonder if someone around here can tell me what's going on. Excuse me, ma'am. Could you tell me what that crowd is for? Oh, child, haven't you heard? A bunch of good-for-nothing thugs took their hideout there. Bastards kidnapped a child. Good lord. This is some good writing with voice. This is actually like the first character that I'm like, oh wow, okay, this character has like a little bit of like voice to the dialogue. I'm sure you know it's market day today. A lot of folk coming into town to trade their wares, but there's also the unwelcome element, you know what I mean? One of the merchants caught some ruffians red-handed stealing from him, like it's no one's business. So we naturally grabbed whatever pointy thing came in handy and made sure these lowlifes know we don't take kindly to thieves in this town. But those scum grabbed a child and locked themselves up in that house. They're threatening to kill the brat if anyone tries to enter. That's horrible. Oh, the poor mother, thank goodness some lads noticed Perrault, captain of the Prince's Guard, drinking in the inn. A few men went to fetch him from the tavern. He grabbed that blade of his and went into the house without saying a thing. Good lord. I wish that good-for-nothing husband of mine would be so brave, but he's only good for drinking and complaining, I tell you. It's been silent like a graveyard in the night since the captain went in. Who knows what happened there? Oh, such awful times we live in. That truly is sad. Thank you for telling me. Nothing like getting a drunk cop to fix a situation. Yeah, exactly, biostats. Boy, that was a lot. Yeah, it was. I hope that child doesn't get hurt. If the captain of the guard plans to fight, it's sure to be dangerous in there. Yes. Wait, everyone has stopped talking. Did something happen? Someone is coming outside. Is that captain of the guard? The child is safe now. Someone get rid of the bodies. Good lord. Okay, is this our love interest? Because I think he might be a sociopath. Wow, did he just take care of an entire gang of bandits on his own? He just disappeared without waiting for any thanks, like he doesn't even care. Thank you, Keith Urban. See, you saw Keith Urban, I saw a little bit of Sean Bean. Character introduction. A guy has some Final Fantasy belts too. He absolutely does. That man's got like 7 belts on. He is wearing some belts. Big Sean Bean vibes. He just disappeared without waiting for any thanks. Like he doesn't even care. Yeah, because he murdered people. Like bandits are not. Like he came out and was like, you can get the bodies now. That's pretty. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not celebrating this man as a hero. What sort of man could do something so heroic and yet remain so emotionless about it? A sociopath. It looks like the child has been reunited with his mother. What a relief. Uh-oh, I'm running late now. I'd better go see Tobias right away. Those treasure chests are like very like I don't know, pleasant. Like I don't know. They're very oh, what's the word I want? Yeah, I don't know. I'm getting a lot of pleasure from these treasure chests. They're good. Tobias' store is neat and well organized as usual. From the look of things, he's been doing well for himself. Yeah. They are aesthetically pleasing, but they're like, yeah, there's like a, like they're aesthetically pleasing in like this very pleasurable way. Like I'm like I get a lot of joy. They spark joy is maybe a way I would put it. I really like them. Thomas Kincaid painting is amusing. It totally is. It just needs like a little cottage. Tobias says, hey, welcome, Cinders. Is everything all right? You seem a bit pale. Yeah, because a murderer just talked to me on the streets. I just witnessed a terrible scene in the market. A group of brigands kidnapped a child and barricaded themselves in one of the houses. Heavens, did someone call the guards? Luckily, the captain was nearby and resolved the situation quickly with his sword. Oh, Tobias just got really intense about the situation. As messy as it may seem, that is his job. Glad to hear everyone's all right. I don't know, I'm enjoying Tobias's scarf game. I think between the two, given like belts McGee or scarves, I think I aim a little bit toward the scarves. He's a little girlier too. I like that. Not everyone. He killed all those men. I don't know how to feel about it. You always had a gentle heart, Cinders. Have you missed it? Ooh, I'm flirting with Tobias. Well, it's been too long since you last stopped by, that's for sure. How have you been? The tough thing is Ascot doesn't quite match the jacket. I mean, it doesn't. I feel like they complement each other, but like, I see what you mean. They are close but off, which can be a little bit annoying. I find the two shades complementary, but you know, I understand not everyone might. Much the same, Carmosa works me to the bone every day, and there are times when I wish I could just disappear. But I manage. There are days that make me happy, like today. I'm so glad to see you again, Tobias. It looks like your shop is flourishing. It does well enough. I hope you know that you can come speak to me anytime you want. Yeah, Tobias is crushing. We used to spend so much time together when we were teenagers. Now that we're adults, it seems like we hardly even catch a glimpse of each other. It's really a shame. Ooh, girl, I know. Belts McGee. You're right. It feels like childhood friendships disappear once you mature. It's hard to keep them alive sometimes, even when you have the best of intentions. Look at his puppy dog face. He does have a puppy dog face. He's been very expressive so far. He's got pouty lips, too. Such a true statement, but I assume you didn't come here just to remember the old days. Sadly, no. I'm on an errand for Carmosa. I'm here to pay you for, well, whatever it is she asked for. Oh my. How mature is this game, though? She's being very secretive about the whole thing. Oh, that. That? Now I'm even more curious about this errand. Should I ask him about it? Yeah. So what exactly did Carmosa ask you to do anyway? It sounds mysterious. I'm afraid I can't tell you. Sketchtown. Well, I promised Carmosa that I wouldn't tell anyone. I would like to keep my word. Also, it's basic business ethics, Cinders. Ooh, throwing my name in there, a little bit condescending. I'm not sure I like you anymore, Scarves. What should I tell him? Ooh, this is a tough one. What do you guys think? Carmosa is not worth it, or I understand. Don't patronize a sad boy. I agree. I don't feel like saying I understand. Let's go with Carmosa isn't worth it. Carmosa isn't worth such honorable treatment. She doesn't treat any of us nearly as well. That may be true, but I gave my word. Carmosa might not be honorable, but I certainly am, or at least try to keep my standards. That's actually a good response. Good for you. Okay, now we're pressing a little bit much. You can tell me. Remember how close friends we were as children? Why can't you just tell me, for old time's sake? Goodness gracious, Cinders, calm it down. I gave my word. A promise is a promise, and I intend to keep it. It's about keeping my honor, and it doesn't matter if Carmosa is a good person or not. Now, please don't ask about it again. I mean, fair enough. I don't feel like we needed to press it a second time. But that's cool. Fine, I understand. Anyway, Carmosa said I was supposed to give you some money for this job. Oh, he got real soft at that. He doth protest too much. I agree, biostats. It's true, but I'm surprised she would send you to pay for it. Cillian Murphy, that's who he reminds me of. It was bothering me. I was like, yeah. With the cheekbones and the lips. Definitely not gonna learn what it is from him now. No, we're not. She said something about not having a choice. How much does she owe you? Around 200 sovereigns, I'd say. Just an estimate? That means Carmosa and Tobias haven't agreed on a set price yet. If I can negotiate a discount, I might get in Carmosa's good graces, or just get some money for myself. How should I approach it? Appeal to friendship, be seductive, haggle, or let him have the full price? Well, appealing to friendship did not work very well in trying to get him to besmirch his honor. I mean, I feel like be seductive is the most, like, interesting choice. And yeah, this is kind of like an interesting choice space because, interesting, I didn't expect such a nuanced choice here. Yeah, I feel like it's not worth it at this point. They want you to pick seductive. I agree. Like, looking at this choice space, it's like seductive is the one that jumps out. The rest of them are all like very sort of like normal. Yeah, I kind of am with Jeffrey Lindsay on this. Like, unless we can haggle, then use the rest as a bribe. Oh, that's an interesting thing. Certainly the most potentially interesting to me. Yeah. Yeah, let's try to haggle. It's the how thirsty is this gamer measure. I totally agree. You're absolutely right. How about 150 sovereigns then? Does that sound reasonable? I wouldn't have guessed you'd say such a thing. Use the threat of violence. Brandito, you are agent of chaos. So 150 is fine. Let's meet in the middle. How about 175? Sounds good to me. Here's your pay. You drive a hard bargain, old friend. You really have the makings of being a great merchant. I hope you don't take this the wrong way, but you're really not so different from Carmosa. Ooh. sick burn. Okay. Yeah, ouch on that. Tried to get me to lower the price even though I'm your friend. That woman is cruel and manipulative. I mean, we were being a little manipulative there. You only see one side of Carmosa. Her life isn't easy either. She's a single woman working to keep her house from falling apart. It's not an easy job, but she's very good at it. Oh, I see. I don't think being seductive would have worked. Just gonna throw that out there. I think you're a better person than she is, but you both have the same spark. You're clever and you know what you want. There goes dating him. Yes, I agree, biostats. I hope they present another option of person to date. You'd be a good leader. I suppose you have a point. I never thought about Carmosa like that before. People aren't simply good or bad. And those who do bad things usually have a reason for it. Okay, that felt a little direct, but also I get it's a game and you sort of need to be that direct sometimes, so okay. Tobias, you're a riddle wrapped in enigma. It's true. You really are a wise man, Tobias. I've always liked that about you. I'm happy I could see you again. The pleasure was all mine. I hope you come again soon. I'll do my best until the next time we meet then. Oh, I almost forgot. What is it? Please tell Carmosa that I'll fulfill my part of the deal soon, and she should expect my representative to come by sometime tonight. Sure, I'll let her know. Thank you. Oh, and by the way, I had no idea you have your representatives nowadays. Comes with the trade, I guess. Start throwing coin around and suddenly you find yourself surrounded with people eager to run errands for you. I cannot tell you, but here are some details. Yeah, exactly. Yes, I agree, Brandy. I used to be magnetic, but it made trading in metalware too risky for me. Oh, Tobias, no. Oh, people do tend to underestimate the pain caused by fast-flying cutlery. There was a time in my life when I was forced to eat with my hands, but I prefer not to speak about it. Oh, I've missed our talks, Tobias. What witty repartee we have with each other. Me too, Cinders. I'll see you again soon. I hope so. Cool. I really miss the old days when Tobias and I played together. I'm so glad that I could see him again. So, yeah, I like in terms of tropes, since we were talking about that earlier, I like, you know, it's setting up the classic, like, visual novel love triangle thing, right, with, some, you know, Belts McSmolder and Tobias with, you know, the old childhood friend who clearly there's love interest there and whatever. So those are sort of the two, like, tropey play against each other kind of love interests, and what I really hope is that the game gives us a little bit more than that, especially since, like, I'm fairly certain that that Belts McSmolders is probably the prince, so yeah, we'll see. Every decision matters. The branch icon appears when the current events are a consequence of your choices earlier. It could be different on another playthrough. That's actually nice. So, yeah, when writing choice-based narrative, one of the difficulties is how to show consequences and effects. And yeah, a lot of choice-based games kind of just try to do it narratively, and then you sometimes get really ham-fisted lines like, this is because of that thing you did earlier. And when it's done well, it can be really cool and magical, but I am completely not opposed to some sort of UI indication of like, hey, this is a payoff for a thing you did earlier. And I hope that we will be able to glean which choice we made earlier caused it. I do suspect later this will bring up some interesting discussion about the difference between feedback and consequence, which is a thing that I talked about a lot in my dissertation, where consequences themselves don't necessarily give you a feeling of agency. And one thing that I've been feeling with a lot of these choices is that they're not very well signaled, in as much as when I make the choice, I don't necessarily need to know what the consequence of the choice is going to be, but I do need enough information to form like a mental model of what I think is going to happen, and to understand the action I think I'm taking. And one thing that I'm feeling about a lot of these choices is that I'm not always sure that I have enough information that I fully know what action I'm taking or why I would want to choose one thing over another. So we would call this like formal affordance. The game is not giving me a lot of formal affordance, which is to say it's not always sort of telling me like, oh, hey, this decision might potentially lead you down a path that looks like this, or this decision might have this character react in this way or that way. And even with a game like Overboard, where some of the dramatic tension was coming from the fact that we didn't always know how characters were going to respond to our choices, we still always kind of knew what those choices were as we were making them. So it's like, even if we didn't know how a character was going to react to us like pressing them aggressively or accusing them, we knew that we were accusing them. And I'm not kind of always getting enough formal affordance, I think, here. So I'll be curious as we start seeing some of these consequences. I could stop by the tavern and treat myself with this money. Let's just get lit. But if I brought it back to Carmosa, I'm sure she'd appreciate it. Would she? I don't know that she would. I can imagine that's really tough to do well, for sure. Yeah, it's certainly an art. I mean, it's why narrative designers have jobs. What should I do with the extra money? Do we want to get lit, or do we want to give it back to Carmosa? What are we feeling, chat? I definitely feel like the fun option is to go to the inn. Cinders can pocket the difference. Yeah. Does girl have no concept of savings? I think we should party. Apparently not. Apparently saving's not an option. This place is so full of life. Although, to be fair, it's a little bit shady too. Shady is not a word I would have expected to see in dialogue in this game. I hear this inn attracts some of the less honest people in town, but at least it's exciting. People here actually know how to have fun. It's nothing like that stiff and proper place that I'm forced to call home. Carmosa and her daughters are all too proud to do anything fun. Well, I'm not gonna be like that. I'll order a huge meal and a beer to go with it. Oh, the captain of the guard is still here. He's all alone in a corner. Dude, it's so sketch. I wonder if he'd let me sit with him. What do we think, chat? Do we want to enjoy our food, or do we want to approach him? Is he brooding? I bet he's brooding. It sounds like he's brooding. He's alone in a corner. I don't think that dude can, like, look off without brooding. Let's stay away from the murderer. I agree, Jeff. Feels like they're one way. We came here to have a good time. Did we come here to get murdered? I actually, he's brooding. He's listening to Ari. Painting his nails black at the table. Yeah. Okay. So I'm getting some torn one direction and the other in chat. Like the counterplay move for me is to just enjoy the food, because I actually kind of feel like the game is trying to force us toward him. Then he would be a Cure fan too, yeah. Where are you? Okay. Let's enjoy the food. Okay. Man, alright. Yeah, let's approach him. This is gonna be fun. This will be entertaining. I wonder if we can approach him and be mean to him. I'm already spending time drinking beer at the tavern. I might as well just take the plunge. What plunge? Well, he's looking at me at least. But he's not talking. Okay, so he's looking at us, and I guess this is good. Hello. Hello. What's the third belt for? Yeah, he's got arm belts too. There's a lot of belts going on. Do you mind if I sit here? There are plenty of free tables in here, but it seems like you've already made up your mind. Thank you, I just wanted to chat with you if that's okay. I don't know, I probably would have left at that. Are you really captain of the guard? I am. The king appointed me to this position himself. Ever since his death 2 years ago, I've served the prince. And how's the prince doing? What's it like to serve under him? Do you like it? He's the prince, my ruler and liege. That's all that matters to me. Oh, I see. His face. I saw you rescue that kidnapped child this morning. That was really impressive. It was simply my duty, I suppose. Yeah. Did you really have to kill them, or were you brave to fight them? So yeah, I do feel like probably going over to engage with him was like a test of, like another love interest test, like, of the two, which one do we prefer? And I'm kind of regretting the decision to come over and talk to him. So as a player, there's like a little bit of me being like, yeah, I kind of want to push him away now. Yeah, also, I'm not a fan of like gushing over this dude. Is it really necessary for you to kill them? It was not my choice. They chose that path and they put an innocent life at risk. I'm sure those bandits were just desperate and not thinking clearly. It's cruel to take someone's life because of a poor decision. That's a fair argument. But what would you have me do? Would you rather risk the life of that child who did nothing wrong? Or better yet, should I leave the fate of the bandits and child to the crowd? What if they tried to break in and the bandits decided to kill the boy? Or maybe the crowd would have burned the house down. At least by my sword, those men were given a swift death. It's my duty to uphold the peace. Oh. Biostats like I'm out on this guy? Yeah, same. Hard same. You hide behind your obligation, but it's still your choice to spare a life or take it. Can you really sleep well with such a flimsy excuse as duty? If someone talked to me like this with that blank expression, I would fear for my life. Yeah, exactly. This is my thing. I'm like, yeah, this dude is not okay. It sounded like this game has the ability to scroll back and change your decision if you really wanted. Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. Now we're setting in on him, though. Now you have an interesting way of thinking. It's nothing I've considered before. You're an interesting girl. Ooh, ooh. Might I know you're... Ooh, this got really cringe. Okay. I'm called Cinders. An odd choice. He's just negging us so hard with this expression. Oh, it's so gross. He's 100% a cop. My father used to call me that because of my hair. Now it's stuck. Though when my sisters address me, it sounds more like an insult. I see. Then I wish you well, Cinders. He's so unusual. On the surface, he might be considered cold or cruel, but he takes his responsibility very seriously. Oh, he's so cold and cruel, but I'm sure I can change him. Gross. I should probably return to my meal before it grows cold. And then I should head back home. It's getting late. Cringe City. Yes, for sure. Yeah, we can go back to the forest, but it sounded like probably we should go home. Yeah, also keep in mind this game is from 2012, so it's not like it was released like last week or anything. It was released almost 10 years ago, which isn't that long, but I do feel like our cultural discourse, particularly around things like romance, has probably changed in the last 10 years. So it looks like a guy in his 20s, 30s that goes to high school parties. Oh, it's true, Brandito. It's true. Go back to the sea. Oh, Jeffrey, that was such a good idea. Of course he does. Yeah. Journey back to my house was much too short. I'm not looking forward to facing Carmosa or my sisters again. At least I got a rare reprieve from their insults today. I wish it had lasted longer. I'm terribly late. Okay, so this is a thing. Carmosa told me to hurry back, and it's nearly nightfall. I'm sure she'll skin me alive. Wow, that's a lot. Cinders, do you have any idea what time it is, you useless girl? Where have you been all this time? We could talk back to her or apologize. Yeah, I kind of appreciate the straightforwardness of this choice. I mean, my instinct is to talk back to her, but I guess I'm feeling sassy today? I don't know. Like, I'm not usually much for counterplay, but it feels like the game is, like, encouraging it. So, yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? Okay, if nobody has strong feelings, then I'm just gonna talk back. After talking to McGoosh, would all be sassy. Okay, we're hitting her with sass. What I do with my own time is not any of your business. I work for you without any form of compensation, so why do you care if it takes a little longer to get tasks done? I did what you told me to after all. Foolish girl, a person's usefulness is not in merely blindly following orders, but in following them efficiently. You may babble all you like, but the truth is you're simply a lazy child. At least you managed to finish the task appointed to you, though I take a little solace in that. Is it too much to hope that you managed to keep some of the money I gave to you? Well, he said the price was 200 gold pieces, so that's what I paid him. Why am I not surprised? I feel like... So I kind of wish that had been a choice, because we just lied to her without really getting the choice as to whether we wanted to or not. And I sort of suspect that's going to come back to haunt us. And or at least, like, as a player, I'm wondering if it will. And so I kind of wish that had been a choice. I suppose it's foolish to expect more from a girl as disjointed from reality as you. What are you talking about? You never take the first offer. Anyone who conducts business, no, anyone in their right mind knows that. But Tobias is my friend. Why can't children just be mindless and efficient servants? Exactly. Enough, I am not interested in your excuses. What a disaster. You're more useless than I could have imagined. If I stopped feeding you, you'd be exactly what you deserve. But I suppose I would be arrested for petty crime if I did that. Would you? I'm like an adult, like a grown adult. But Silence, get out of my sight. Just looking at you makes me ill. You will go to your room and you will stay there until you are summoned, is that clear? Her nails are really well done, though, I will say that. Yes. Meanwhile, my lord, I've been told you wanted to see me. I've been informed of the hostage situation at the marketplace today. I also heard that you handled the situation rather admirably. For that, I commend you. Thank you, my lord. The truth is I regret having to kill so many men. They couldn't even put up a fight. Such is the burden of those in positions of power. He has a really big belt. Just like the one big belt versus like 3 medium-sized belts. We must make difficult decisions for the sake of protecting others. It is not a choice, but a duty. Since when does he regret it? Seems out of character. I think, biostats, they're trying to portray his depth, and this is supposed to be, like, endearing, that he's, like, this cold exterior man on the surface, and then underneath that, he has pain and regret. And I agree, it does seem out of character. You performed your duty to perfection. You honor me with your words, my lord. You deserve it. After all, my father, your king, has always spoken well of you. I know he even considered you a friend. Dollars to donuts, he's been scarred in the past, and now we have to break through that shell. I mean, clearly, it's on his face. If the king spoke so, I'm honored by such confidence. Truly? What do you think of my father? How was it to serve under him? The king was a wise, skillful, and strong leader. I would have followed him anywhere. That is what I've heard from everyone who knew him. Already, I fade in comparison. My prince, I have not yet been crowned, as father's last wish was that I should find a wife first. No doubt he wished that I find someone capable of ruling by my side. Of course, every noble in the land is eagerly pushing an eligible daughter toward me. That sounds not like how marriage would have wanted to work back then, actually. But okay. But I need a strong woman I can rely on, a queen who can support my agenda, no matter how hard it's going to be. I am a simple warrior, my lord. I know very little of romance and politics. Nonsense, my father trusted you more in matters than war, and I too am willing to do that. Okay, so I'm feeling like this is a lot of words for relatively few, like, actionable story beats, where it's like, okay, it's trying to convey some information to us. It's trying to convey that, like, you know, Belts McGee has some depth. It's trying to communicate that the prince has some kind of complex where he's feeling not as good as his father. And, like, it's trying to get that information across, but I feel like it could probably cut out about a third of the lines in the scene and still do that and have the dialogue be stronger for it. Yeah, he's not really, yeah. Oh, she doesn't seem to agree with the agenda. Just push it for him. Yeah. But I confess, even my own palace is not safe for discussion such delicate matters. The walls have ears, and I would not wish for my search for a wife to become any more public than it already has. We might go hunting together tomorrow morning. I think we would find the forest a safer place for discussion. Such an action is dangerous, my lord. If something were to happen to you, there is no one to succeed you on the throne. Is that so? I cannot imagine anything safer for having the famous captain of the guard by my side. What if we can get these two to romance each other? I am so for that. I am for, like, any of these folks to romance each other. Just not me and them. That is what you wish, my lord. That is indeed what I wish. You can go now, friend. Brave captain of the royal guard, first sword of the kingdom, veteran of the renegade war, reduced to killing common thugs and guarding market stalls, not yet aware of how obsolete his role is. Oh, snap. These are different times that require a new kind of bravery and power. Our wars will not be fought using iron and fire, but gold and lies. Yeah, probably both, to be honest. When I become the king and start realizing my plans, goodness knows I'm going to need someone like you. Later that night. Finally, I have some time to myself after doing Carmosa's bidding all day. I don't know, it feels like we kind of took the day to ourselves, to be honest. Still, it could have been worse. I like a little satisfied look. And then super angry. Carmosa was furious I got nothing but cold scraps for dinner. Yeah, but we had dinner. At least I was able to get away from the house for most of the day. I always loved going into town. I can't believe how exhausted I am after today, though. My feet ache if I feel so sleepy. I should go to bed. Carmosa certainly won't allow me to sleep in tomorrow. Someone's knocking at the door. Why would someone be visiting at such a late hour? Silence, I paid for your discretion, yet you pound on the front door as if it's a war drum. Right, pardon. I swear I'll be silent as the tombs are right away. Mum's the word. It totally is a pimp situation. The package is ready to go. Can I trust you? Oi, oi, you wound my pride, madam. I'm more trustworthy than an old priest in a confessional. Tobias's rep, huh? Yep. Such an utterance is a little comfort to me. Hee hee. No one can escape Carmosa's biting tongue. Now prove there's some value to your words. Go before someone sees you. I think he's gone. What was that all about? What on earth is Carmosa trying to hide? Maybe I should sneak out the window and try to follow him. That's clearly what I should do. No, that's crazy. I can't do that. Okay, what do we think? Stay in the room or follow the mysterious visitor? Yeah, I believe we also gotta follow him. Yep. Clearly the correct choice. How long have I waited here, wishing for the chance? Finally, an opportunity has presented itself. Carmosa clearly has a secret. If I could figure it out, I might have an advantage over her. An advantage in what? No one is outside the window. Now is as good a time as ever. Like, yeah, it's such a weird thing to be like, oh, I might have some power over her, because it's like, well, no, she's like running our household. Like, I don't know. It hasn't really set us up as wanting anything in particular that she has. Cinders said his blackmail. The music is good, actually. Yeah, I'm really enjoying the music. Well, now what? And like the little effects as well. Like the little VFX have been really good. Tried to keep my distance while following that man, and now I've lost his trail completely. If he's somewhere up ahead, I'll have to hurry to catch up with him. But if I accidentally pass him, then I run the risk of running into him when I return home. Shady character. I love it. Ow, curse these demonic excuses for plants. The way you scratch at a fellow, you're more like wildcats than shrubs. I know when I'm getting scratched by plants, I speak out loud to them as well. That must be him. He's close, I'd better hide. Blasted rocks, what are they doing in my path? Yeah, he does look like a shady character. You'd think they'd clear out this place accounting that a fellow can't see a thing in the dark. It's not proper, I tell ya. Well, I'm sure this be the place where I'm scheduled to meet that smartass merchant. Smartass or not, shouldn't you be more careful when talking about the man who pays you? Oh, Tobias, coming up behind him. Oh, boss, I was just talking a little to myself. No harm meant, you know? I think this is where it's going to reveal that Tobias is not so above board after all. I suppose I can let this one go if you've brought the package as discreetly as Lady Carmosa requested. No ifs about it, boss. It wounds my honor that you doubt my competence, even for a moment. Alright. Before I do, boss, I have a little something I need to ask you. And what would that be? You know, I'm an honest man, but my curiosity just took hold of me so hard I had to have a look inside this package. Lo and behold, my eyes spied a mighty fine necklace set with rubies and made of gold. It's worth thousands of sovereigns at least, yeah? I specifically instructed you not to look inside. But the necklace, yeah, it's probably worth quite a lot of money. I don't get it, boss. Why is the noble lady paying us to take this off her hands? Seems all the wrong ways around to me. I'm sure she has her reasons, and you're not being paid to poke around and ask needless questions. In fact, if you don't keep your mouth shut, you won't be paid at all. Whoa, boss, no need to get so angry. My mouth is secure as a royal treasury, it is. I doubt the contents are quite as valuable. Still, you've completed your task, so here's your pay. 15 sovereigns. Try not to drink it all at once. I'm sure. But we should return to town before someone stumbles upon us. Never mind that. If I don't do something, they'll leave before I can do anything. It's kind of an awkward line. Now might be my only chance to confront him, but I probably shouldn't act too impulsively. We could confront him, but I'm not sure, like, why we might want to. He gonna die. Yeah, I think so too, Brandito. I'd stay away. Yeah, I think that's a good plan, Jeffrey. Let's go. Yeah, I'm not sure what we have to gain by confronting him. Yeah, I'm not either. I think I've seen enough. I better get back before they catch me or if someone finds me missing. I think that's what, yeah, exactly, NBA Dag. Like, that's kind of exactly what I mean, where I'm like, I don't know, it feels like the game is conflating the choice with the consequence a little bit, where it feels like maybe there was some great payoff for doing that, but like from a roleplay perspective, there's no clear reason or incentive for me to do that rather than just staying hidden and safe. Yeah, I don't know. In the morning. Yeah, that's a really good way to put it, NBA Dog. It's a choice I can make, but the value proposition isn't there. Oh, what a night. Maybe boss was right when he said not to drink away my pay in one go. It took me a minute to realize we were the shady character for a second. Yeah, so I am finding the point of view shifts a little bit interesting. Because I guess like my expectation would be that in a visual novel, it's mostly going to keep to like us and the character that we're role playing and kind of this limited on omniscience around our character. But because of the fact that it's actually showing us like different characters in remote locations from where we are, we actually as the player get a little bit more information. There should be a transition to help that. Yeah, I agree. I was wondering why we were at the lake again. Yeah. Still can't say it wasn't worth it for how great last night was. Oh my. Wait. What exactly happened last night? How'd I even wind up at here? The deer went this way, my lord. Oi, someone's coming. Better lay low for a mite. Hurry before it gets away. Forget the deer, Captain. There are more important matters at hand. Oh, please. If this is about what you asked yesterday, my lord, I know little of politics or the affairs of the court. Do you, though? That's exactly why I need you. You're straightforward and honest, and you see things I can't. Behind all those smiles, everyone in the court lies to me. No, you're the only man I can trust. I will serve you to the best of my ability. What is it that you wish to discuss? It's about my father's last wish. I must have a wife before I ascend the throne. How am I to choose one? There is a ball in a few days. Isn't that your chance to find an eligible young lady? In theory, but that's the problem. How will I be able to tell? The monarchy is weak without a king, and the nobles around me are plotting to advance themselves. They groom their daughters like prized spaniels in the hope they'll be taken in by a pretty face. Not like this face. I need a wife who is strong and smart, someone who can rule the kingdom wisely, not feed me her father's poisonous words. But I doubt I'll ever find such a woman. I doubt so too. Don't give up on every maid in the kingdom, my lord. Even yesterday, I met a young woman who had a quick wit and a fire in her eyes. Not with that attitude. She did not seem like a woman of nobility, though. A shame that is, for I would gladly have gone to see any woman that you hold in such high regard. And yet, you must choose a wife from among the nobility regardless. Both of these guys suck. +1. It is, after all, tradition. As if tradition mattered to that brood of vipers, they plot to control the throne before it's even in my grasp. If that's what the prince is looking for, then Cinder is already a poor choice. It's true, though. If I'm married to please a powerful house, I risk having a fool for a wife. But what other choice do I have? If we respected the traditions to the fullest, you'd be able to choose any woman at the ball, even someone you didn't know. How convenient that this rule is often forgotten. Someone I didn't know. Captain, you're brilliant. It's perfect. I'm not sure I follow your thinking. A masquerade ball. I'll be able to choose from the women without discriminating over looks or political ties. They've been pushing me to follow tradition for so long, they can't complain if I remember the old rules. Oh no, sorry, I hit the scroll bar. Okay. Captain, you're truly a remarkable man. Now I see why Father trusted you so much. Of course, my lord. Well, it's always an honor to be of service. Yeah, I think the speed at which the text scrolls is actually kind of a really good small detail. Thank you so much, my friend. You're a rare breed indeed, still faithful to your ideals. Ideals or not, our prey has long since escaped us. Oh, the interplay with the prey and the women, it's kind of gross. If we linger any longer, people might grow suspicious. You're right, my friend. Let us return to the castle. Now that I have a solution in mind, I can return with a light heart. Shady character, just silent. Well, that's a bit of juicy gossip you don't hear every day. A masquerade ball. I know a certain lady who would play handsomely for this information, that she would. The day may have started lousy after last night's drinking, but it's turned out to be quite a good one after all. All thanks to a few extra rounds at the pub. Can't go wrong with that. Yawn. What time is it? Sun is already so high in the sky, I must have slept in. Yeah, I think it's a payoff thing. Considering how I spent last night, that's hardly a surprise. I'm still not sure what to think about what happened. I want to trust Tobias, but, well, at least it's something different from the usual. It's strange how my life has been so boring all this time, then suddenly all these things are happening to me. But even stranger than that, I wonder why no one has come to wake me up yet. Must be at least noon, if not later. Surely Carmosa hasn't decided to be gracious and grant me a holiday. I want none of your pitiful excuses. Uh-oh, Carmosa's definitely not in a gracious mood. So one of the things I really do enjoy about visual novels when it's done well, and I think that's a really good example of it being done well, is that they do a lot of conveying of information in sort of a symbolic way. And so like that moment of flash and then a little bit of like asset wiggle and the text coming in like conveys that it's an off-screen yell without the game ever telling you that. And some of that's convention, but I think also like just that little bit of you know, sort of symbolic representation of things is really cool and really important, and one of the things that I sort of enjoy about visual novels. And so it's why I think I get a little bit disappointed with dialogue that's very tell instead of show, because there are like little things you can do to sort of like convey information like that. I should get going and see what's going on before she catches me like this. Everyone is here. You're an even bigger disappointment than usual. Looks like Carmosa's mad at Gloria today. I wonder why. Hey, Sophia. Cinders, not so loud. I don't want to get in trouble or miss any of this. What's going on? Business as usual. Mother's in a bad mood and Gloria was the nearest thing she could yell at. So I feel like all of that dialogue did not need to be there. Honestly, like I feel like that could have entirely all been cut and then we would have just gotten action. And I think like that's kind of been true of a lot of this game so far. Like I feel like just in general, it could have done with like a third of the dialogue completely cut out. And it's one of the things about like the writing and the pacing is that it's not just about having good stuff and good lines, it's also about taking out the bad stuff so that everything that's left is good and strong and powerful and driving things forward. And like I'm definitely feeling this game kind of dragging a little bit. Like we haven't even made it to the ball. Like ostensibly like the inciting incident is only kind of happening now and we're sort of pretty far into things, and like I don't know, I'm definitely feeling like well, I don't know, I'm gonna need to actually end the stream in just a few minutes. So it's kind of like, yeah, certainly some pacing stuff going on with this game for sure. So I think I'll go ahead and finish out this scene and then maybe we'll break off and chat for a little bit. But yeah. But if the servant is allegedly ill, then find someone else. Do it yourself if you have to. I'm sorry, Mother. I understand. If you truly understood, this wouldn't have happened in the first place. But I'm wasting my breath. I can only hope that you've learned your lesson and this won't happen again. It seems I can't trust you, girls, with even the smallest tasks. I wish that one of you would finally take charge of things. Yes, Mother. Well, don't just say yes. Prove your worth by taking action. Make sure dinner is ready in 2 hours. I expect the wood to be chopped by then as well. Don't worry, Mother. I will. Cinder, Sophia, why were you two wasting your time eavesdropping instead of being useful? Teehee, it's not a waste of time. It's not a waste to watch the mighty all-knowing Gloria get scolded by Mom. Oh, what's this? Usually I have such a sharp reply, and now you can't think of anything to say. Whatever happened to the perfect, glorious, outspoken Gloria? One scolding from Mom is all it takes to shut you up. I don't have time to deal with your childish jealousy right now, but watch your tongue. It will certainly get you into trouble someday. Anyway, you two heard Mother. Dinner must be ready in 2 hours, so get started. What? Why do we have to get dinner ready? Because I'll be busy taking care of Mother's other needs, like getting the wood chopped. If you'd rather not, I can always tell Mother you refuse to obey her orders. Fine, I'll do it. Just pray that your food isn't poisoned. As if you'd have the guts to do such a thing, little sister. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have duties to attend to. Well, looks like I'm stuck working with you, Cinders. So there is another servant. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think earlier I decided I wanted to play the two sisters against each other. So yeah, we'll maybe try to befriend her here. It feels like a little bit of a, like, I don't know, not a ton of, like, nuance or direction in the relationship of those choices. At least you picked the right one to befriend, yeah, apparently. Wow, you really told her off. Nicely done. Of course I did. It's nice to see Gloria get a taste of her own poison once in a while. It's even nice to see her at a loss for words. You really hate her, don't you? I never thought about it before, but I guess I do. Gloria was always cruel to me. She keeps trying to be like Mom. She thinks Mom will acknowledge her if she keeps putting me down. Well, things have been as bad as ever since you came along. You're getting the brunt of it now. Oh, things haven't been as bad. Yeah. But yes, I hate her. I didn't always hate her, but I definitely do now. At least she got her due this time. She might become Mrs. Favorite, but we're the ones on top for now. True, but I don't feel that great about it. Well, that's not important. If we don't finish dinner on time, we won't be on top for much longer. It'll be nice having someone help me with dinner for once. Hurry up and take out all the ingredients we're gonna need. Why me? Isn't it obvious? I hardly step foot in the place, so naturally I don't know where everything is. Naturally. It doesn't mean you can't help with the preparation, though. I don't really have a choice in the matter, do I? There's no way you can prepare dinner in 2 hours alone. I'll be in just as much trouble as you if it's not done. Mother isn't forgiving towards anyone. I figured that much out myself. Now here are all the ingredients. Yuck, the stench is unbelievable. Are they rotting or something? No, this is just how vegetables smell. They do grow in soil, you know. Sure, but I can't believe you actually live with this odor. I bet sometimes you must feel like a rather large carrot yourself, or a beetroot maybe. That's funny, Sophia. Besides, it wasn't exactly my own choice to move in here. I used to have a proper bedroom before Gloria took it. Of course, how could I forget? Still, you should be grateful. They say that harsh conditions help to build character. You're bound to become a diamond here while poor Gloria softens with every passing hour. Can't you give me a break for once? If that's how it's going to look, I prefer to risk Carmus's anger than prepare dinner alone. Oh, fine. Don't be so uptight, sis. One Gloria in this house is one too many. So, what was it like before we moved in with you, anyway? Tell her, or why do you care? Yeah, I don't know, like, it's kind of the thing I was saying about, so not necessarily not knowing what the choice is gonna do, but it's more like from a meta level of how do I want to play this game? I can definitely tell that I have some choice in befriending the sisters or pushing them away, and I vaguely get the sense that I probably have some choice in the same with the guys, but I guess I kind of wish that I had that there was a little bit more nuance to that interaction. Yeah, definitely. I definitely think I'm gonna tell her. But just like at a higher level, it's like, okay, I can get close to her. It hasn't really forced me to decide between the sisters. I kind of just arbitrarily decided to, and I wonder if it would have eventually forced that. But yeah, it's more like I kind of just wish there was a little bit more role player nuance in the kind of relationship that I was gonna have with her, where it's basically my two options are like her or don't. You know, where it feels like with a stepsister in particular, there's a lot of potential for nuance there. So yeah. Okay, we'll tell her. Do you really want to know? Of course. We've got to talk about something or else it'll be awfully dull in here. You can't just admit that you're actually interested in my life. Man, we're like really passive aggressive with each other. Well, if you must know, the moment we started talking, I decided it's better to imagine you're a character from some bad romance novel. It's much less personal like that. You're such a darling sometimes. I know, right? I may not be the worst or best in the family, but you can't accuse me of lacking creativity. Let's get back to that book you're in. Well, life was different when Father was still alive. More carefree, although I suppose that's how childhood is. Father had a way with kids. I think he was a rather big child himself, always dreaming. I loved it back then. So I actually think I would have cut that stuff at the beginning about my relationship with Father and all of that, which felt like just like exposition backstory. And I probably would have put it here in these like kind of juicy, you know, sort of character moments and maybe made it feel a little bit more like a reveal. And how do you feel about it now? It was great. It was too dreamy, or it was suffocating. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll say it was great. I loved it all so much. Everything was so magical. I tried very hard to keep the worries of life away from me. It was like living in a fairy tale. Demons. I used to wonder what having a proper father would be like. I don't think I'm all cured now. Sounds like keeping in touch with reality wasn't exactly his forte. That may be, but I was just a kid with a happy childhood. What about your mother? Do you remember her? Unfortunately, she passed away giving birth to me. I still feel guilty about it, even though I know it doesn't make any sense. Father told me a lot about her, but I don't really know if that's how she was, or if it's an idealized image. Yeah, all of this, I'm like, oh, like all of this dialogue could kind of use a punch up. Like, to the point that I actually wonder if this game was initially written in English. Because it, like, I don't know, that just, all of the dialogue is very, like, like, I feel guilty about my mother dying while giving birth to me. There is a way to write that line to show guilt rather than saying, I feel guilty. So, yeah. Yeah, it's like reading a story outline. Yeah, for sure. Perhaps that's why he preferred to get lost in his dreams rather than face real life. I'm sure it got even worse after we came into your life, huh? Ew, this onion is making my eyes wet. Give that to me, I'll chop it. If you rinse the knife first, it shouldn't sting that much. As for you, I'd say my life is definitely different after you came in. Oh, just be honest, I know your life has been miserable ever since your father married our lovely mother. Trust me, it's not like Gloria and I wanted this either. And yet, here we are, one big happy family. You can be awfully cynical at times. Oh, you noticed. Fine then, yes, my life got worse when you showed up. I'm a servant, no, a slave in my own house. Not like you'd understand. Yes, what could I possibly know about it? It sounds to me like it's your turn to talk about your life. Well, there's not much to say. That can't be true. It's obvious that a lot happened to you and Gloria. You wouldn't be like this otherwise. It's actually not a bad line. Besides, you wanted a conversation, so tell me about yourself. Yeah, it is a little strange that it feels like this is the first time they've ever had a conversation. Like, yeah. When we were children, we lived in the countryside. Our house wasn't as nice as this one, though. Our father was a military man, got himself killed in some war. Like, and that's the thing is, like, because it feels like the first time these two characters have ever spoken ever, like, it does feel like a lot of kind of, like, backstory dump. I actually really do like the framing for the scene. I do too, NBA Dag. I think the idea of like, okay, the two of you have to go off and do a task together and now you're getting to know each other. Great framing. It's actually just the literal lines that I'm like, oh, okay, this is, there's an easy fix. The sisters just move back in. Yeah, it could be. What about Carmosa? It must have affected her. Maybe that's why she's the way she is now. Is that supposed to be a joke? Oh, I missed that. Oh, I can go back. Mom didn't care about him any more than we did. And why did she marry him? Well, why does anyone get married? So, yeah. This one feels a little bit more like an overboard choice. Like, it feels a little bit more like this could be sort of a character roleplay choice, but it also feels like there might be an answer that this particular character will resonate with more than others. So, like, yeah, this feels like a moment where, as a player, I think I'm probably overthinking the choice more than I would as like a character role-playing, but I haven't developed strong enough hooks into the protagonist to role-play it in a particular direction. So yeah, I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't... Yeah, this is actually an interesting choice, because it does feel like, I might not agree with a choice that I might make to try to get on her good side, but that might commit me to something that I'm not sure I want to commit to. And so the tension of that is actually kind of interesting, because it feels like for political gains is the answer that she will resonate with, but I'm worried that later that's going to come back and be like, oh, you only marry people for political gains. And for many reasons is the non-committal choice. So of course, as the player, it feels like the one I'm wanting to gravitate to. So yeah, where I think like it's trying to set up that our character probably believes more for love. Yeah, what a weird choice. Okay, I'm gonna say for many reasons. We'll go with the non-committal. There are lots of reasons for people to get married. I don't think I can give one solid answer. Some do it to attain higher status or more riches. It's also a way to ensure you aren't alone when you're old. And sometimes love, or at least mutual respect, plays a role too. You're right. For instance, an ugly girl like me would only attract men looking for status. They would try to climb the social ladder. Jeez. So that was actually kind of a good writing moment. This character thinks she's ugly, and it was a good way of sort of expressing that she has low self-esteem and making her a little bit more sympathetic as a character. She used her looks to attract a man of higher social standing. If you had a penchant for melodrama, you could say she climbed his dead body to be where she is now. Carmosa comes from a poor family. They had a title of nobility, but they'd lost most of their riches. The only way for her to advance up the social ladder was to marry, and she was ambitious. She married an officer who was relatively rich, and he had a lot of accolades. She probably planned ahead, even there. For all I know, she chose a man who would probably die in battle so that she could marry even higher later. How can you say that? That's such a cruel assumption. Cruel? It's not like she killed him. He would have died anyway. She just wanted something more out of life. It's still a cold thing to do. Cold? Sure, it's cold. It's business. I don't see what's wrong with it. Mother's not dumb. She did what she had to do. There's not much room in this world for women with ambitions, so you take what you can get. Okay. One thing I'm noticing is this game is working pretty hard to make the stepmother and stepsisters of the classic story much more three-dimensional and even sympathetic. Yeah, NBA DAG for sure. I'm definitely feeling that. It's interesting because you kind of get the sense it's going about it in a kind of hand-fisted way, but it's interesting. Yeah, I think that's fair. It definitely feels like it's trying not to not to undermine the telling of them as cruel, and instead paint around that, which is kind of it's difficult to do, and I think I think it's doing it in a way that is kind of simple. It's certainly very very clear cut, right? To be like, oh, they were trying to climb for social status, but that's just what women had to do in this time. And yes, maybe so, but I think one way out of that might be to give them ambitions that are sympathetic and make them a little bit more like tragic figures. give them ambitions that are sympathetic, but you know, some character flaw that pushes them into like becoming that unsympathetic character. I don't know. The sister's definitely better. Yeah. So yeah, because like I think in trying to make them more multi-dimensional, it's losing a little bit of cohesion in the character for me. Like I don't know, you do sort of get the sense in the scene that this is like a very hardened exterior character who's maybe like softening as she hangs out. So like that's a completely reasonable framing, and I think that's fine. But and she's like a little bit defensive about her mom, which also is like totally fine. But like it's the back and forth of like she's still being cruel, but then kind of sympathetic, but then like, but also like we're being weirdly like passive aggressive too. Yeah. NBA Dag says agree 100%. I don't know that it's trying to be redemptive so much as paint them as tragic or a product of a world that relies on cruelty. Yeah, I think that's a really good way to put it, NBA Dag. Yeah. So back then, was your life as bad as it is now? Worse. What? How so? Well, you weren't around. Listen, if you're not around, who do you think becomes the victim? Mothers always needed a scapegoat, and Gloria would do anything to please that woman. I'm not as pretty, smart, or ambitious as them, so naturally she humiliated me, and Mom didn't disapprove. And now that I'm here, they no longer target you. Is that it? That's exactly it. Mom and Gloria have a new scapegoat, and my life is finally a little better. Yeah, that's not bad. Okay. Oh, I see. So now that you're no longer tormented, you choose to torment me instead. Of course. Nothing personal, but it's either me or you, and I certainly won't be a victim again. Yeah, it's like, it's okay. Like these lines, the information they're conveying is great. I just like want there to be a little bit more cohesive of a voice in the line. 'Cause like, yeah, the sort of like the pragmatism of that does not always come across in the language that she's using. But it's not like something else is coming across in the language that is giving me like another dimension of her character either. It feels a little bit disjointed. Totally spot on with the show versus tell. Yeah. Besides, you should be grateful. Didn't your father shield you from the real world too much? Well, now you get to see exactly what it's like. That's the way of all things. You're either the hunter or the prey. As long as Mother and Gloria focus on you, I can go back to being my own worthless self. Yeah, okay. And then it's kind of like, do we want to continue to befriend her or not? And like, okay, I guess we'll continue to befriend her because that's the direction that we're playing. Just listen to yourself. You're not worthless, ugly, stupid, or even cruel. My, what has made you an expert all of a sudden? That's ridiculous. It's obvious the person you hate the most is yourself, but you have no reason to. So you make up all these excuses like you're too stupid or ugly or worthless when you know it's not true, but it's still an easy way out, isn't it? You prefer to convince yourself you're nothing so that nobody will expect anything more from you. So, okay, this actually is kind of a perfect example of the thing I was talking about earlier, where the formal affordance of that choice felt like what it was suggesting to me is that it was sort of doing the thing of like what they call one-down communication, which like there was a report in Harvard Business Review about like women utilizing this form of communication more than men, where what they'll do is they'll sort of like sort of put themselves at like a level down from the person they're speaking to, and most women recognize this as a sign that they should also either bring the person up to their level or should also do the same and bring themselves down. And so it felt like what the game was suggesting to me is saying, oh no, like I'll be supportive of you and say you're not ugly or whatever. And then I'm like going in on her and like insulting her in the process and kind of like just performing a really different social move than I think I was expecting based on that choice text. You sound like you're trying to convince yourself that you're all-knowing. You're not worthless, Sophia. You know that. It's almost endearing how hard you try to see the good in other people, but you're just being naive. It's not naive at all. I was paying attention when you were talking, and I learned something important. You think you're worthless because you can't measure up to Carmosa and Gloria, but it's the opposite. Carmosa is a woman of strong influence. It's easy to get drawn in and conform to what she wants. The fact that you resisted means you're stronger than Gloria. It means you're stronger than Carmosa. I'm sorry you had to suffer for it, but that makes you even more admirable. Oh, that was nice of us. You had it really rough, and I know that it left a mark on you, but it doesn't make you worthless. You know? I don't need your pity. Trust me, that's the last thing on my mind. You've still been absolutely horrid to me. But now that I know what happened to you, well, I just wish that I knew you better. I've had enough of this. I've done enough work. You can handle the rest of the dinner, can't you? Well, you don't really have a choice. I'm leaving. Fine, have it your way. For a girl who wastes her life in the kitchen dreaming of better days, you can sure be self-righteous. Yeah, I agree. I was not prepared to get on a high horse like that. And for a girl so cynical and angry with the world, you sure look a lot like a self-made victim. Then I suppose that entire conversation between us was pointless. Good luck with the dinner. Yeah, this feels a little bit like a gotcha moment from the game. Like, I don't know. I just, like, especially that last line of, like, this whole conversation being pointless. Like, that feels like a punishment line. And I don't feel like that punishment was earned. So, yeah, that was pretty much a bummer. Like, not a bummer that she reacted away, but a bummer that the roleplay opportunity that we thought we were taking turned out to be something else. Sometimes Cinders just goes rogue too. Yeah. Like, whoa, where did that reaction come from? Yep. I think I need some time to think it over. The meal is nearly done anyway. All that's left is to get one of the servants to cook the rest right before it's served. Okay. I like there's one of the servants, so, like, what are we doing? I really need to get out and gather my thoughts. Everyone is busy. I'm sure no one will notice. Oh, sorry. Resume. The main hallway's empty, no surprise there. As I thought, everyone is busy right now. I don't have much time before dinner, but I'm sure I could sneak out and be back in time. All that talk about my mother reminded me I haven't been to her grave in a long time. It might be dangerous to sneak out during the day, but I don't know if I'll get another chance. I just have to move as quickly as I can. Okay, so, yeah. I don't know, that last interaction, that made me really sad. Like, I don't know, I definitely kind of, it felt unfair, I guess is the best way to put it. Like, it felt like the game, like, tricked us. And I'm like, this isn't, like, a game that's a pleasure experience I'm looking for. I'm not really looking for the game to, like, trick me. So, yeah, interesting. So I think I'm gonna stop there and we'll maybe just chat for a minute about things. Yeah, so far I'm glad I'm playing the game. I'm certainly enjoying parts of it, for sure. I am enjoying our particular reading of the gentleman. I am also enjoying the sense of nuance that it's trying to bring to the stepsisters. I think for me, it's like taking me part of the way where I want it to go, and in some ways that is frustrating because I want it to, like, go the rest of the way, where I'm like, oh, okay, if we're doing, like, a nuanced portrayal of the stepsisters, then, like, let's do a nuanced relationship with them, and let's take that in a stronger direction. Yeah, I am curious how they're gonna handle, like, the fairy godmother situation. Like, that for me is still one of the big, like, remaining payoff moments, where particularly if this is calling itself, like, a more mature version, yeah, I'm really, really interested where that goes. We did leave something for the fairies, so maybe that will come back and factor in. Yeah, I mean, I think okay, so for like a an opening of a story like this, what would I want it to do? So I'd want it to set up a bit of backstory and a bit about who the main character is. I feel like it's done medium at that. It doesn't have to do as much of that because it's Cinderella and we all know Cinderella. Um, and I like the way it's kind of played with what we think about in terms of Cinderella stuff. You would ideally want a story like this to also be like raising some questions. And so that's why it makes me a little sad that it gave us like all of that about our father like right up front, because I think that would have been kind of some good narrative juice there to serve as payoff a little bit later. And there's still room for that with the mother. And so I feel like there was a little bit of a missed opportunity with the exchange with the stepsister just now about the mother just being like, I feel guilty, because I feel like that could have been a good place to sort of be like, well, I have complicated feelings about it, and then we could explore that a little bit more later. um yeah. Singing myself first. Yeah, I mean, it you know, it's kind of pointed out a couple of places where it's like, look, we're not gonna have talking animals, we're not gonna have this and that, which is cool. I actually sort of like that approach. um I don't know that it needs to like keep being like, oh, haha, storybook, and you know, where it's like, yeah, okay, like we know it's Cinderella. Looking at the Steam page, it does look like it presents itself as a game to play through multiple times. Yeah, a lot of choice-based games do, and use that as like a selling point. Um, but yeah, in practice, you know, how many players actually end up playing multiple times kind of depends. For me, if a game is a story and it is longer than like 3 or 4 hours, I'm probably not gonna replay it unless like I'm really curious about something. Um, yeah, yeah. I don't know. How are you guys feeling about it, chat? I'm curious on what your thoughts are. It's interesting. This one of the reviews that I saw also said that it was like a an easy introduction into visual novels, and that I actually can see about it. If you're a person who's not familiar with the tropes of the genre, it feels very accessible in that way. Um, yeah, I'm really enjoying the music, the art style. Uh, I'm hoping that there's going to be a little bit more complexity to the stepmom as well and the sisters. Like I think they're certainly trying to suggest that there's more complexity to her. Um, so yeah, I would be kind of interested to see where that goes. Yeah. Um, Bastat says is fairly pretty. The music is good. Yep. NBA Dag says I can see where it's trying to go with a lot of things. I'm not sure it's succeeding. Yeah, NBA Dag, that's kind of where I'm at too. Is like, yeah, I can appreciate a lot of what it's trying to do. It's hard though. I don't want to pass judgment on it before I finish at least one playthrough of the story. Um, but yeah, there definitely so far have been at least like uh at a micro level, a lot of things I'm like, oh, I probably would change that. Like I feel like in general it probably could have used it like a strong editing pass just for content, like just murder your darlings, like there needs to be less words in this game. And I say that like it's a visual novel, I understand that. I'm not like, oh no, I'm reading too much. It's just there, the words are bloated, like there's a lot of writing there that could be cut. um let's see. I was wondering if the way they present things is influenced by the thought that people would play through more than once. Yeah, I can see that argument, Jeffrey. It's a good point. Um, but you have to entice players to play more than once. Like you don't get it for free. And I actually think you are kind of right in that it feels like some of their design choices um in, for example, how they're more focused on consequence than framing of choice, for example. That feels like something that is presuming multiple playthroughs. I like that they're calling out where the impacts are, and they're doing it subtly but noticeably, and that's nice too. The sound design has actually been pretty good. One of the reviews I read complained about the text sound. It doesn't bother me. I actually find it pretty unobtrusive, and the little bit of sound that they've had with things like just background bird noise and stuff like that has, I thought, been really effective at establishing place without being obtrusive. Um, yeah, the two noble guys are lacking a bit. I would agree with that. I think that's why maybe when I'm reading them, I'm putting a little bit more emphasis on them, because I feel like their characters are a little bit flat. So I don't know, like I'm wanting to read a romance between them, and it's like almost letting me do that. And that is one thing I appreciate about visual novels as a genre, and when they do like that sort of thing well and kind of allow for shipping of characters that maybe like aren't canonically going to get together, but the language around how those characters talk to each other is suggestive enough that you can kind of read it that way. And so like I find myself really wanting to do that with them, just to maybe give them a little bit more depth and dimension. um yeah, like, yeah, it's like I want like another option among the romance choices. Like nobody's really jumping out to me as like, oh yeah, this is the one we should romance. um Feels like the game could play into it more than it does. Yes, Jeff, I absolutely agree. I like, yeah, I feel like I'm working really hard to try to find that. And like there's a little bit of it there, but it absolutely could be more, and I think that would make the game a little bit more fun. Um yeah. Tobias was okay, but it feels like the settle choice if it ends up being one. Yes, I completely agree with that read, Biostats. Um yeah, like, and what's weird is also like I'm trying to put myself in like a 2012 mindset too, which, yeah, that was a time when people said friend zone unironically, you know what I mean? And so I do feel like it probably is kind of intentionally presenting him that way. It sort of feels like the two nobles are supposed to be like the two actual romantic options, like the bad boy and then, the prince. um Stepsister had the only chat that seemed like they enjoy the company. Yeah, that actually I think has been my favorite exchange so far. And if this is a game that's just entirely about like the option of having interesting relationships with the stepsisters, I actually would kind of be okay with that. Like, I actually think there's a really interesting Cinderella game where uh you don't even go to the ball. You're just Cinderella, like existing in that house and trying to, I don't know, reach your 18th birthday so you can run away or something, and like building relationships with your stepsisters, and you're all sort of like dealing with this shared trauma and trying to like navigate the politics of that. Like, that actually would be kind of a really interesting game. But you do need to offer quite a bit of nuance in that relationship. Um, Romance the stepsister, Brandito. I'm not gonna lie, there was a point in this playthrough where I was kind of like, I don't know, can I romance a stepsister though? Because that seems like a better romantic option than any of the other two. But then also the stepsisters are not really giving me enough characterization that I would know what I was signing up for in either case. And I don't know, like that last exchange where we just like got high and mighty on her all of a sudden wasn't exactly pleasant. So if that's what she brings out in me, I'm not sure that's what I want. No, I mean, like, it's a visual novel. You expect a little bit of spicy, like, and even if we aren't given the option to romance the stepsister, that's the kind of thing I would expect to be, like, a bit of shipping written in. So, the ending of that combo was not fun. Yeah, I agree. Uh, so, yeah, I don't it's got interesting places to go. It's not that long of a game, so I think doing it for one more stream probably seems reasonable. I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, I am looking for my new stream schedule to be Sundays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And so Sundays, we're going to focus on games that are particularly narratively heavy. So we'll continue this game next Sunday at the same time, 5:30 Pacific. And then Wednesday, this week I'm going to have to do a short stream Wednesday, and I might have to start a little bit early because I have like a hard out just before 6:30. But Wednesday, I want to focus on games that are weird or doing something interesting, like interesting novel mechanics. So this week, I want to play Baba Is You for the first time. I'm pretty excited about it. It's a cool puzzle game. Won a ton of awards, and the idea basically is that it's a puzzle game where you can change the rules of the game as you go. So, and you do this to solve puzzles, and it seems really cool. I am like really weird about playing puzzle games in front of an audience. It's like, I don't know, some deep-seated thing in me from like being a kid and not solving puzzles fast enough or something. So you're gonna have to help me through that, chat. Like, you're gonna have to be really kind, and we'll solve puzzles together, and it'll be fun. And then going forward, Fridays are probably gonna be like a chill, just chatting thing. But this Friday, I will not be able to do that. So this stream schedule will be starting for real next week. I'm gonna try to do this week what I can, but this week is like a little bit stilted because I have like a lot going on. So cool. Yeah. So one cool thing about Baba's You, Jeffrey, is that I worry with puzzle games about like, if I watch someone play it, then I'll know the solutions. And the cool thing about Baba's You is it seems like the kind of game where there are multiple vastly different approaches to each puzzle. So while the tutorial puzzles might be kind of rote, like it seems like the sort of thing that you're not going to get like spoiled watching someone else stream it. So that seems really cool to me from like a puzzle design perspective. So yeah, you totally should hang out. Yeah, and so this will be a Halloween stream. We'll finish this game, and we'll see where the romance goes with the two guys, I guess, and see the stepsisters and the differences. Like I said, I'm actually really curious how it deals with the whole like magical component, since it seems like it's done a lot of setup around like magic being real but not real, and fairies or whatever. So yeah, we'll see where that goes. Anyway, okay, let's see who is around to raid. And yeah, thank you guys so much for joining. Thank you for the subscription. Oh my gosh, that's me talking. Don't do that. Yeah, let's see. Kinetic, thanks so much for hanging out. It's wonderful to have you as always. And yeah, let's maybe raid my friend Sarah Nation. Let me see what she's streaming. Okay, she looks like she's doing some Harry Potter story time on this cozy day, and I have not had a chance to catch her streaming in ages and ages. So I hope you will stick around. We will raid Sarah Nation. She's great people. Anyway, thank you all so much for joining. It's been amazing, and I hope I'll see you next Sunday.